What is up, YouTube? My name's Gage Williston, and this is DisEnGage Average. What is up, YouTube? My name's Gage Williston, and this is DisEnGage Average. Cue intro. Alright, and now that we're back, that's just a few things that I like to do as hobbies and things that I've worked on over the years. As far as what I have planned for this channel, I guess as you could tell from the title of my channel, I'm going to be mainly focusing on getting you out of your average day routine. I have a limited supply of time in this world, and it's almost like a video game in the sense that like your character, who you are as a person, can get upgraded. And I want to show people that. I want to show people that you don't have to believe the story that you've been telling yourself this whole time, that you can't do something, or you don't have the time, you don't have the money, whatever the case may be. I want to prove that like as long as you just stay consistent at whatever it is that you want to learn or try, that you'll eventually get good. You don't have to be the best at it. You don't have to be the champion or, hold the world title, but that shouldn't stop you from at least trying. And that's where the 12 gauge challenge comes into play. I'm going to go more in depth about it in another video, but the gist of the 12 gauge challenge is basically every week or every 12 weeks, I have to learn something new. So I'll be videoing and documenting the whole process of basically me finding something that I like or I'm interested in, and having to go through the struggles of failing and, not knowing what to do, all like the insecurities of not being good right at the beginning. But I want to show the progression over time that you do get better. And I have this theory that 12 weeks is kind of that magic spot where you go from not knowing really anything to being somewhat good at whatever it is that you've been practicing for 12 weeks. And I think 12-week transformations have been a testament to that, of people transforming their bodies in 12 weeks. I was previously, sort of a personal trainer. I have my certification. I only trained for like a month at 24. It wasn't really my gig. Not really something I'm into. I guess I could get into a little bit about myself in general. I guess, as you've seen from like that short little intro of things I like to do, I like to really push the limit of what's possible. I mean, for the most part, for me, that is. I mean, there's a lot more people who are way more intense than I am, but I like to see where I'm holding myself back and then moving myself forward from there. I guess a tiny little intro about my own personal life. Grew up playing sports in high school. or, as a kid, played the typical like soccer, baseball, your typical ones that you play as a kid. And then as I grew older, I did track and field for a little bit in like middle school. I did cross country in high school, and then wrestling in high school. And then mixed martial arts as I got a little bit older in high school, like from junior year and then onward from there. I still practice every once in a while. The memberships are so expensive that, it's hard to stay consistent. But, I do have a slight background in, a little bit of Muay Thai, a little bit of Jiu-Jitsu. I'm not an expert at either of them, but I know how to hold my own. Anyways, just a little background, I guess, of my athletic ability. But back to, I guess, my actual life. I didn't go to college. I'm 21 years old currently. I decided not to go to college, which was a big, I guess, decision in my life, because everybody where I'm from was going to college, and everybody in my immediate circle was going to college. So that time in my life was kind of hard to kind of like break through from, I guess, all the social conditioning around going to school. But I was never really good in school. Matter of fact, I was pretty bad. I just didn't. But there's certain aspects that I did like. Like, there's no doubt that I loved history, and I loved English class. I wasn't great as far as grades go, because I never did my homework. To be honest, I thought it was useless. I thought it was dumb. And when it came to certain assessed questions, I thought they were biased towards whatever the teacher view on whatever it was. I was like, all right, well, if I read this, isn't this about my personal experience reading? Anyways, going off topic, I liked those classes. I liked art. I liked, particularly performing arts. I really enjoyed that, but it was one of those things where it was like kind of taboo for me, because I don't know, it has its kind of stigmas in, I guess, the circles that I was running with at the time, where it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like that whole Zac Efron High School Musical syndrome, I guess, if that makes any sense. But anyways, I always really enjoyed performing arts ever since I was a kid. So if I could describe 3 things that I loved most growing up in high school, it would be working out, going shopping, because I don't know, I like to look good, and I like buying new things. It's douchey, and as materialistic as that sounds, that's just how it was. I had a job at the time serving ice cream, so all that money went towards, I guess, buying clothes. Really good investment. Anyways, and the third thing was watching movies. I loved movies as a kid, and I still do. It's one of those things that it brought me a lot of, I guess, emotional support. I've always been a really emotional person, but I tended to have a hard time, I guess, expressing it in a way, if that makes any sense. I don't know, maybe it's getting a little too weird in this intro, but going to the movies, it was always like an escape for me, and it was something that I really enjoyed, because I always felt like, I loved reading, and I loved like learning about stories and characters and archetypes and just the way things play out, but I never really felt like, I don't know, there was part of me that wanted to get involved in it, but I didn't really know where to start. Anyways, I guess long story short, while I was working, a gentleman came up to me, and he was like, hey, you're a really charismatic dude, like, have you ever thought about acting before? And this is, I think it was like around my junior year in high school, and it was on the forefront of my mind, because I knew in my heart I wasn't going to go to college. That wasn't my thing. I hated school. I hated doing homework, and I couldn't see myself doing another 4 years of what seemed in my mind was like another prison. People was always like, oh, this is my dream school. I was like, dream about school? And I was like, every time I dreamed about school was a nightmare. So my options were well, I thought in my mind, I was like, all right, I'll probably just end up joining the military then. My cousin, he was in the Marines. He helped train me as a kid, like while I was in wrestling, and then also when I was doing like mixed martial arts stuff. And there was part of me like while I was training at shout out to HB Ultimate, Rampage Jackson and Tiki Ghostin's gym. Probably won't end up watching this, but give him a little quick shout out because I've been training there for on and off for I don't even know how many years, since like high school, just on and off because I can't afford membership fees because they're expensive. But really good gym, really good atmosphere, like the people there. Anyways, getting sidetracked. But I thought maybe I could follow his path. He was a Marine, he's a fireman now. And I was like, you know what? I train with him a lot. So I feel like maybe I have a shot at doing what he does. And so in my mind, I thought, man, I'll probably just end up doing that. I'll join the military, whatever branch I decide to choose, and then see where I go from there. Because I knew college was out of the picture. But this gentleman came up to me and offered me a different solution, a different path that I think it was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to be in movies and I wanted to be like, I guess like a Ryan Gosling, as douchey as that sounds, or I wouldn't say douchey, but like as like once in a lifetime that is of being a movie star, like that attrition rate is insane. I mean, there's to think about how many people try to make it in Hollywood. It's very few, and it's usually have to be like a kid. But I believe I was like 15, 16 at the time, working at this Golden Spoon, which is like a frozen yogurt shop. And this guy was offering me a chance to, I guess, get trained by him at one of the local schools that was around my area. And at that time, it seemed like it was one of those things where it's like, it felt like a movie where I was like, I've been thinking about this, I've been dreaming about this, but it didn't really seem possible. But this guy was giving me almost like a key to what I thought my future was going to be. So I told my mom about it, and she was like, no, we can't afford acting classes for you. But what she did offer was, I'll look up on Groupon and see if there's Groupons for it. And I was like, all right, that's fair enough. So we found a Groupon for the Performers Academy, which is the acting school I ended up going to. And I fell in love with it instantly. It felt like it was everything I was looking for. I was doing sports the whole time. I like sports. I like working out and stuff like that. But I knew I was never going to be a pro athlete. Like that was never in my forefront because I was never that good. And I didn't really want to put the effort to get really good. It was like I liked pushing myself, but the thought of being a pro athlete never really crossed my mind. But being in acting class, it was a good like emotional release. It was fun. Everybody was really, really, I guess, caring and, supportive, because we all had these kind of wild dreams that like we were going to be, TV or film stars someday. And as crazy as it sounds, it felt real like when I was in class, and it was just a tight-knit group, and I don't know, it was really fun. And so around my senior year in high school, that's when I decided to really take the plunge into it, and was like, you know what, if I'm going to make this happen, I have to go all in. There's no if, ands, or what's about it. It's one of those things where it's like, you just have to dive deep and see what happens. So I ended up taking more and more like workshop classes just to get better. Like that was so cool about that academy, is like they offered all these classes on top of your classes. So I was just constantly in there just trying to absorb and soak up as much information as I can, and just really get to a base level that I felt was comfortable and I could work with. So so I was working really hard. I also got to be the assemblies director for our school, which was really cool. It was a really cool opportunity. Maybe that's a story for another time, because that's like, I'm already rambling too much. But so it was all within its own ecosystem, that it was drawing me towards eventually getting into Hollywood, getting into the industry. So when I was about 17, I got my first agent, and I started going on auditions while I was in high school, and I wanted to drop out so bad. And I'm so glad that my mom convinced me to stick it through and just graduate and just get it over with, because that would have been so bad. So bad. Any kids that want to drop out of high school, trust me, dude, or girl, god, or whatever, it's not worth it. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not worth it. College, different story. I'll get into that later. High school, though, just pass. It's hard. It sucks. Trust me, been there. I wanted to quit literally like 2 months before graduating. I was like, screw this. But looking back on it now, I'm really glad I got my degree, because life would be so much harder if I didn't have that. At least that. College is a different story, but high school, please just stick it through. I graduated with C's and D's. If I could do that with C's and D's, it's like you can too. And I was hardly putting any effort into my schoolwork the more I think about it. But I don't know. I haven't been in school in a while, but just to anybody who's watching this that's still in high school, and it's just stick it through. It sucks. I know. I hated high school. It was not fun. But as long as you get through it, like, you won't regret it. You're going to regret it more if you don't finish. Anyways, so I was going to auditions during that time, and it was cool because it was like, wow, like, I'm actually making this happen. And I'm only 17 years old. And I was like, this is pretty dope. And so it just, that dream kept getting more and more real, and like, it felt like the more I believed in myself, the more it was manifesting itself, if that makes any sense. So as soon as I graduated, that's when I just decided to go all in, especially since I had this kind of ego, this push that I wanted to make something of myself. Like, I knew how to push myself physically, and I knew if I could put that same mental drive into putting into this entertainment business, that I could make it somewhere. And I was dealing with all the hate from people telling me that I'm dumb for not going to college, and I already had to deal with enough hate for being, not the best student, so everybody already thought I was pretty dumb. But I knew in my mind that I had something more to give to the table, and that wasn't so necessarily that I was like airheaded and dumb. I'm sure there's some aspects like math. No, yeah, I am airheaded and dumb when it comes to math. But when it comes to other things, I was like, I knew I was just lazy. I didn't want to put in the time and the effort, because I was putting time and effort into building a business and trying to pursue what my vision for my life and what I wanted it to be. But so I did that, I was pretty motivated, really motivated to really make this happen, because in my mind I was like, I'm gonna prove everybody wrong. Like, I'm gonna be the star. I'm gonna be the next, DiCaprio or something like that, where I was like, I'm just gonna be this new big thing that, pops out of Hollywood, and then everybody that made fun of me or called me dumb or stupid or told me I would never amount to anything, I'm like, I'm gonna show them that I'm worth something, that I'm actually valuable, and more valuable from what they see. Having the perspective now, it's different. I'll get into that later, but that was kind of like the driving factor, and it was working for me, because I landed a commercial called for this game called Bounce Off, if anybody's ever seen that. I'm sure younger viewers might have seen me on their channels. It's basically like beer pong for kids, if I could put it frankly. Probably not good at spokesperson for. Anyways, who knows? So basically, it's like there's like this. You can look it up on YouTube. Really, just look up Bounce Off on YouTube, and you'll see me pop up, and you'll see me and some of my co-stars playing the game, and it was really fun, and I made pretty good money from it. But that was like the first taste of success in the entertainment industry, and I was hooked. I was like, if this is what my life's gonna be like, I was like, yeah, I could for sure do this for the rest of my life. And then, so I was just going on auditions left and right, and I didn't really know the freeways at the time. I live in I live in California, by the way, and I live in Huntington Beach area. I know it's pretty awesome. I'm really blessed. Like, I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm very fortunate. I can't complain about anything because where I was brought up is beautiful. It's hard to leave here. So I still live with my parents. Anyways, even more details about myself. So basically how it's set up is like Huntington Beach is right here, and LA is probably like two hours, like an hour and a half away. So you go, I believe it would be north maybe, I don't know. You can look it up on a map, HB to Los Angeles. So it's not too far away, but I really didn't know the freeways back then, and I wasn't the best driver either. Or I was a new driver, so I was kind of scared. So my mom has been helping me out since day one. She's awesome. Greatest lady ever. Greatest mom ever. I wouldn't be I wouldn't have gotten the amount of success that I did get if it wasn't for her. So big thanks to her. But she was helping me out a lot, and she was driving me to these auditions, which, like, total trooper, because it took like 2 to 3 hours, not 3 hours, but like pretty much like 2 hours every time to drive to these locations. And I was probably only in there for like 5 minutes at the most to do a simple reading or just like improvise for a commercial. And then we have to drive back. So it was like a 4-hour trip of driving for 5 minutes worth of work. And that's pretty much been my life for the past like 3 years. But that first year, like when I was still in high school and like towards the end, while I was just trying to figure out how the freeways worked, she drove me back and forth, and I am forever grateful for that, because I wouldn't have gotten my other commercial, which was a Samsung commercial, and that changed the game for me. I know the way it works is like it's a national commercial, so it's kind of hard to explain. I'm sure you can kind of get the gist. Basically, it plays a lot, and you get residual checks every time it plays. So I ended up making a lot of money off that one. And I'm not trying to brag or be like, oh, look at all my money, because it's like, now I'm like, well, I need some money. Like, and where's my, my second commercial, or whatever the case may be. But that's when it full on kicked off, where I was like, oh, okay, like this is something else. Because basically it got to the point where, I'd been working since I was like 15, 16 years old. So I was so used to working for money and having to clock in, get a paycheck, things in that nature. And I was working at a restaurant, this place it was like a yacht club. I was just working as a busboy. And that's what was really cool was, like, while I was busting tables, I saw myself on TV during, I don't remember, I think it was like some sporting event, and I was like busting the tables at the bar, and I heard what sounded like the commercial that I was in, and I was like, is that me? And then I remember popping my head up, and then, by the way, it's the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, I believe the commercial was. I don't remember. You can look it up. I'm barely in it. I'm off in the corner, and I jump into frame, and like I'm in there probably for like 2 or 3 seconds, but you see my face, like it pops up. And so I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's me. And then everybody was kind of like in the bar was like, what? No way. And then eventually played again, and then like I showed them where I was at, and everybody was like, oh, congrats. And it was a really cool moment. It was like where it felt real, because I'd never seen myself on TV yet. I'd only seen, I guess, just clips off YouTube. And I got noticed one time by this girl, like when I think it was like Easter or Mother's Day, we went to church, and this little girl came up to me and was like, are you the bounce off guy? And at that point I was like, yes I am. And it felt so cool. It's such a cheesy story, but at that moment, just because that dream felt so real, it felt really good, because everybody was doubting me before, and everybody was like, and I wouldn't say everybody, I did have some some support from my family. I had, you know, it was hit and miss. There's some people that were like, about it. And then some people were like, yeah, like, live your dream, which was cool. But at that moment in general, just to have my family like be there and then to have that happen, like while they were all there, it was a nice little, like, ego boost, like that was cool. Like, I totally forgot about that story. But anyways, so that was pretty much my life for the past, or the next 3 years or so. Just going on auditions, and I didn't have to work a normal job anymore. I made enough money and stockpiled it away that I really didn't have to, I guess, just do the normal grind. I just felt free. Like, for the first time in my life, I was like, wow. I woke up and I was like, I could do literally whatever I want. And it was a good feeling. But at the same time, it was like, felt like there was a target on my back too. And I felt like certain people that I would come into contact with that knew that I was doing well, like I felt like they wanted something from me, whether they did or not. Like, it just felt weird. And like, when people know you have money, it becomes this kind of weird aspect of like, because now people could be like, well, you have the money, like, why don't you pay for it? Or there's certain things, or like people feel like you owe them something, or like they think that you already have everything, which is like, it's true. It was like, I didn't need anything. And then like, I wasn't completely greedy with the money, but it just felt, at a certain point, it just didn't feel right. And so, anyways, getting sidetracked. This is just more of an intro about myself. So I was in the entertainment industry for the next, like, I'd say like 3 years or so. I had a contract with my manager, and things were going really good in the beginning. I was learning a lot. I was taking classes up in LA now, so I stopped going to the Performers Academy. They're pretty upset about it, but I knew that if I wanted to progress my career, I had to work with working actors. And so I started taking classes up there, and it was good. Like, I felt like I was getting better. And I don't know, I think just that audition grind, it could tend to get to your brain. I don't know, just trying to be somebody else all the time, if that makes any sense. I'm not trying to complain, because like most people never get that opportunity. I'm completely blessed. I'm completely over fortunate that I even got to have a foot in the game. But there was part of me that was like, I'm sure this is with everybody that's pursued something that they wanted to do. It's not what you expect, if that makes any sense. And I don't know, it started to wear on me, the amount of rejection. And to give you an example, or give you a little clue of how many auditions I've been on. This is the binder of the ones that I saved. There's a lot of them that I ended up just throwing away, or just like, I was upset. Super petty, I know. But this is my past 3 years of all the scripts, all the different things I memorized. It was tough. I'm not gonna lie. You know what? I have the utmost respect for anybody who's on or has been on television, because it is a grind, and nothing's fair about it. You could be the most qualified person in the room, and you lose to somebody who, hold on, let's check and see. All right, still going, sorry. But you could lose to somebody who's, I don't know, like, it's got more Instagram followers than you, or more, I don't know, like, there's so many factors that go into getting selected that you have no control over it, and it could drive you crazy. It was driving me crazy. I was like, because I would get so close to a point I'd be on the very, like, I'd be like 6 or 7 callbacks deep, and I'm like, I got this one. I was like, it's all me. And I get sent like a wrong script, or like there was always some kind of fluke thing that would happen. And I felt like I was cursed almost, where I was like, what is going on? Like, why can't I land something? Like, I was landing stuff earlier. Like, why can't I land it now? So it was driving me crazy, and eventually I ran out of money. And I had to get a job again. And I didn't really know if I was going to be able to do it again, because I'd been entertainment industry is so much different than a normal job, and I hadn't worked a normal job in such a long time that I was scared that I had changed, or things might, like, I didn't have the same work ethic that I did before the entertainment industry. So I was nervous, and I was trying to pick a job that I knew that I could kind of that fit my personality. And luckily, while I was working out at Local 24 around here, one of the trainers offered me a training position to work or be a personal trainer at another one of the clubs. And that's a whole nother story. Maybe I'll go into some other time. This is already going a little too far. But this is just my timeline as of right now. Which is really cool for 24. Like, they'll sponsor you, they'll pay for your training certification and get you all set up. So they're going through some different management changes when I got to that club, and so they just had me work the front desk, which was really cool. Like, the fact that they offered me a job instead of or in the time being of me getting the certification. So they got me the sponsorship. I was studying up, working the front desk. Yeah, it's pros and cons. I had to pick up some poop in the locker room a couple times, which is a whole nother story, which I'll get into, I guess, eventually on this channel, if anybody's even watching. If people want to ask it or know about it. But that was something that, like, I didn't know was like a thing. I thought it was just more of like an urban legend that people poop in the locker or poop on the locker room floor. But it happened multiple times, and I was like, I didn't know I was the one who had to clean that up. Anyways, some pretty funny stories working there. But eventually I got the opportunity to be a trainer, and I passed the certification, and I don't know, it just, while I was going through the training process of learning how to personal train people, I couldn't help but miss, an aspect of the entertainment industry. There's part of me that, like, I guess still longed for it. I had all these goals set in mind, and I was so close so many times, and there's so many characters that I wanted to play that, like one in particular, like, I've always wanted to play Robin in a in a Batman movie, specifically Jason Todd. A little shout out if you want to hit up Warner Brothers. It's a nice self plug. But yeah, so I had all these different goals, and, like, I knew what it felt like to have the drive to, I guess, make them happen. But being a personal trainer at 24, it was, like I said, I'm grateful that I even got that opportunity, and, like, they paid for my certification and were willing to put time and effort into training me. But I don't know, my heart wasn't in it. I felt bad because I was just treating it more like a job and a means to an end to get back to Hollywood, less than, like, I'm really passionate about training people and I want to see people hit the results. I was more of like, okay, I'm just going to tell you the exercises and you do them, and we'll see what happens. And that's not a good mindset to have as a personal trainer. Like, you have to really want it, because it's not an easy job, and it's not just a kickback thing, because you won't make it in that industry if you make it that way. And I realized that. And I realized that, like, while we're going through the schooling that 24 provides, hearing everybody else's story of, like, why they became a personal trainer, and then they asked me, like, everybody's like, oh, I've always been so passionate about training people. I train my friend, I train my grandma, or whatever the case may be. And then they go to me and they're like, why'd you become a personal trainer? I was like, I don't know. I got offered a job when I was snuck into a 24 that was near my house, and my membership was expired. Like, And they're like, really? That's your story? And that was the truth. It was like, I liked training myself. I like working out by myself. I never really enjoyed working out with other people, besides, like I said, my cousin who was the Marine and the fireman that like really pushed myself. I liked being trained. I didn't like training other people. And like while like that month period of being a personal trainer, I kind of really got that. Like it kept planting that in my brain, I guess, if that makes any sense. Because I had like a couple clients and I felt really bad because they're kind of like elderly and they could tell that I really didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't really want to put in the time and the effort to learn what I was doing. I wanted to go back to Hollywood. I wanted to pursue what my dream was, and yeah, so I quit. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do this. Like it was rude of me to think that like that this was my path, when other people like are really striving to make this a career. I'm just taking it as like, it's just a job. So I quit that. I worked at a Nordstrom seasonally just to get some money to pay off any debt that I had prior to working in the entertainment industry, because man, dude, like all those classes and headshots and everything like that, and the gas, and just it's a lottery game, really, is what it boils down to. Is like it's almost like a gambling addiction, Hollywood, where it's just like, you keep feeding money into this thing, hoping that you're gonna get some money in return or some kind of success, and there's no guarantee. And I know that more now, being like 2 years out. I'm like, I have a little more balanced perspective. That's why I'm starting this channel, and I'm hoping that I could spread some of the knowledge that I have learned over those years, and some of the books and some of the teachings that teachers or just people that came into my life have taught me, and I guess words of wisdom that really rang true in my life. But anyways, here now, decided to make this channel. Like I said, I know we'll be doing the 12 gauge challenge, which is something I came up with, I'd say in January, February, sometime around then. It was like right as my seasonal job was ending at Nordstrom. So I plan on really honing in on that, and I want to show people that like you could push past all those kind of mental blocks that you tell yourself, that you can't do something, that you're not good at something, that it's I don't know, like whatever that fear is that's blocking you. I want to show people real time that like, hey, this is me sucking big time, but we're not having any prior knowledge to whatever it is that we're I'm trying to put out. But here's me just doing it anyways, and then having to perform and do something at the very end of the 12 weeks. So you'll see me fall flat on my face or succeed within the end of the 12 weeks. And so I'm willing to put myself a month for, brutal embarrassment. At this point in the game, like I said, I've been on so many auditions and embarrassed myself on camera so many times that it's one of those things that I'm like, if I can make some people laugh or just get them out of their comfort zone by me embarrassing myself, that's a good life right there. So anyway, so that's my story. That's what it is so far, and I hope that this channel inspires people to, I guess, get out and try something new. That's kind of like the main thing that I want people to get from this. And that's where the whole DisEnGage average comes from, or DEGA for short. It's more just about getting out of your average day routine and your average, approach that's like, you just gotta do this, that, and there's nothing else more to life. Because you only get 100 years if you're lucky. And that's really pushing it. And like, from 80 to 100, I I don't know, maybe the future, I can't really tell from the future, but from what's present right now, it's like 80 to 100. I mean, you're not really going to be doing some crazy stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of elderly people that are doing that stuff too, like skydiving and stuff. That's kind of a broad generalization. You can do it at any age. Don't know where I was getting with that. But make sure that you didn't leave any stones unturned. And as much as like I could get a little salty that Hollywood really didn't work out too well for me, I'm still proud of myself for giving it my all and really going for it. And just despite all the hate and all the, I guess, doubt that was in the beginning, just the fact that I did land some things and I did get chosen for some things, that meant a lot. And whether I go back in the entertainment industry, I don't really know. Like, it's kind of crazy right now, all the different scandals and things that have been going on. I mean, I heard about that stuff, but I was never really involved, so I can't really say, I guess, speak on that behalf. But I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens in this world. Maybe I'll start a podcast about it. I got my own views on things. But anyways, that's my story. This is what I hope to have at the channel. If you've made it this long, it's probably a long video. I'm gonna cut it now just because whoever's gonna be watching this, I don't want an hour-long video. But anyways, subscribe, like the channel, or like the video, hit that bell notification, and if you want to support my mission and my, I guess, what I want to do with this channel, you could support me on Patreon at DisEnGage Average. So it's going to be Dis with a capital D, so DIS, engage with a capital E and a capital G, so engage. I'm Gage. So cheesy, I know, but I like it. And then average, so capital A, average. Anyways, this is my first intro video. Hope you liked it. Hope you liked my story. And I'll be making content in the future. So thanks again. Thanks for listening.